This is Salty Believer Unscripted. I'm Josiah Walker.
And I'm Bryan Catherman.
Salty Believer Unscripted is a conversation between two pastors. And on today's episode, I want to talk about aliens.
What?
You know, aliens.
Like the movie?
Yeah. I thought today would be a great time to talk about aliens because this is a special recording of Salty Believer Unscripted. We're coming to you live from our Salty Believer Unscripted studios here in Holdridge, Nebraska. And
did you just call my office a studio?
I did. And we are recording this for the first time, I think the first time, on YouTube, on video.
We have done like one other one, like the second one or the first one I ever did 15 or 14 years ago.
Sure.
We did it, and it was so much work, I said, I'm never doing that again.
But it's the 21st century, and we thought, why not?
I got my phone. You know what we used back then? Like a tape digital camera. Anyway.
So maybe you're listening to this on your favorite podcast app, or maybe you're looking at us
on
YouTube. So I want to talk about aliens. I want to talk about just more than just aliens, but like documentaries, different things like that. I was headed out the door to come and see you. I had a couple people from my church bring up an alien documentary that's coming out.
You didn't think anything of it, huh?
I thought it was kind of strange. Holdridge. And I got to Holdridge, and we were meeting with somebody from your church.
Yeah.
And they brought up this alien documentary.
So then he said, okay, what are we going to do? And is the church going to have to address it? And if this is legitimate, we're going to have to, if this, then that, what if, yada, yada.
So it's just a great...
And then we're like, what are you talking about?
Right? So then we went to research it. And it's just a great reminder of how there's always things coming up in culture and society of documentaries or events, riots, protests, especially in, election years, politics get ramped up.
You're in a big city.
Yeah,
I am. This happens. I'm in a small town.
Yeah, I'm in a huge...
Where do you think this happens more? I've been in both. Small town, big city.
Man, that's hard to say.
I think it's just the same in both.
Yeah.
You heard it on the same documentary, or something like this documentary, same topic. You heard it before you came here.
Right.
You came here, you heard it.
Right.
So we looked up the documentary. It's called, what is the documentary this thing's called?
If this were scripted, we'd know. But
the Age of Disclosure trailer.
Yeah.
We're going to watch it. We're going to let our listeners hear it. And let's see what is getting everybody worked up about.
The American people are ready to receive the truth.
Humanity is not the only intelligence in the universe.
Humanity is not the only intelligent species.
We are absolutely not alone.
Non-human intelligence exists. UAPs are real. They're here, and they're not human. I spent 25 years as a senior official with the CIA.
I worked on highly classified UAP programs.
28 years as an astrophysicist.
I served as the 4th Director of National Intelligence.
Director of Aviation Security in the National Security Council.
A 1-star admiral after 32 years of service.
People that come forward with this, I feel like they've taken their life in their own hands.
I was recruited to a highly sensitive government program that investigated unidentified aerial phenomenon.
For over 16 years, on behalf of the U.S. government, I worked as a senior intelligence official on the unidentified aerial phenomenon topic.
We learned that the U.S. government was involved in a long-running secret war with other nations to collect and reverse engineer vehicles not made by humans.
I have seen with my own eyes non-human craft and non-human beings.
So look at that thing. It's rotating. There's a whole fleet of them.
The first country that cracks the code on this technology will be the leader for years to come.
China has established its own version of a UAP task force.
You think for a second that they wouldn't consider using it to achieve their ends of domination?
This is similar to the Manhattan Project. This is the atomic weapon on steroids.
This is so secret. Very, very few people in our entire government have been allowed access to it.
Even presidents have been operating on a need-to-know basis, but that begins to ramp out of control.
It's not acceptable to have secret parts of government that no one ever sees.
You better be careful about a government that doesn't trust its people, because there's no telling what they'll pull on you.
This is the biggest discovery in human history.
You had information being locked away that could change the trajectory for species.
It has so many beneficial impacts, including clean energy.
We should have disclosure today. We should have disclosure tomorrow. The time has come.
So this sounds really intense.
It sounds scary.
they've got some high-ranking officials speaking into this issue, and it just seems really daunting, really intimidating. And we were going to watch this documentary, but it's like $20 just to rent the thing.
Well, then we found that the part that so this looks like just kooky pants. Who cares? I could blow this off really easy. But then we just saw Marco Rubio in there.
Right. So when the Secretary of State is being interviewed in this project.
So we saw that thing. We Googled some stuff, which is sometimes dangerous. But we saw that video. What was it? Fox News, Sean Hannity. And
Sure.
He asked the director point blank, is Marco Rubio on camera verifying this? And the guy kind of danced around it like he's on camera verifying that there are unidentified things and government shouldn't cover up stuff. Well, so I don't want to pay $20 to find out what the situation is. But that's not even the question we're talking about, right? We're not talking about if I've seen it or not.
We're not talking about you've seen it, but what do you do when somebody comes to you and maybe they're really concerned about this? Like the members of my church were concerned that these things aren't maybe from aliens, but maybe they're demonic. And that if people try to replicate this technology, that we're messing with, spiritual forces.
They're not even concerned they could be aliens?
Well,
that could be an option too, right?
I guess it could,
okay,
right?
So, but the question we're talking about is what do we do as Christians? How do we think about these things? Because that seems like it's clickbaity. Right. It's trying to get us
not just like what do you do as a pastor, but what do you do when a brother Christian or a sister Christian in your church comes and has something like this that you think maybe isn't a big thing, but they're really, it's keeping them up at night.
Well, the person who came to us, I find that person very credible. And he said, What do we do if this thing's a thing?
Right.
Well, I don't think it's a thing, but if other people are all caught up in it, what do we do?
Right.
First of all, do you think that's a thing?
I think it's a lot of hype to sell a movie. And I think if we ended up spending the $20 to rent and watch it, I don't think we'd get that much evidence that we don't already have, right? We were talking the other day that unidentified flying objects are always unidentified until you know what they are.
Until they're everything is an unidentified flying object until the moment it becomes unidentified.
But it's not just things like this. We've talked about it before, but when I was in Salt Lake City, there were huge protests and riots, and we flipped cop cars over and lit them on fire. Like, that's scary for people.
You also have, so that was like, we're watching all that in the 2020 riots, but you also have that weird Skinwalker Ranch.
Sure.
People get caught up with that. You have weird conspiracy theory this. What if the government's that? My kids come to me and tell me something, jokingly, oh, well, pigeons are actually spy cameras and this, that. So people get worked up in this stuff.
Right.
But the Bible tells us to fear not. We're in this world we're supposed to work through. So so let's get to that topic. Let's start with this. You're going to go home. You got people in your church.
Right.
They're going to come to you. We'll just say totally hypothetical. They come to you and go, we watched the documentary. It's possible they're aliens. We think they're demons.
Right.
What do you say?
I would say that none of this changes the fact that God is sovereign over all of creation, right?
Right.
God is in control. And if there's aliens out there, it means that God created them.
Right.
And who am I to say that God hasn't created beings somewhere else that he's created here?
Right. Well, and that's what we have from the Bible.
Right.
The Bible is God's revelation to us that he has created all kinds of stuff. I would probably start with this. Has God created things we've never seen before that would freak us out?
100%.
I've read about weird angel visions and things that would surprise you. It's like all these different stories of this whole entire realm of beings that are not part of our salvation story. They're side players.
Right.
And we get super caught up in them.
It's really easy to get caught up in side quests and different.
But I don't even think that's what we just watched.
Right.
I think what we just watched was not, what do I think about angels and demons and what if there are aliens out there? What I think we just watched is an effort, which is very common right now, to get people super excited about, fake news, excitable stuff, get worked up about this. What if this? What if there's a government lying to us? Do you think that the government has told us all the truth there ever was? I don't think so.
I don't even know if I could handle it if they did.
And I don't even know if I trust the government anyway.
But let me ask you this.
This is not going to get me worked out.
Right? Well, and do you feel like maybe that's one of the devil's, main attacks and attempts is to get us scared and afraid and worried
and distracted. Okay, so let's just play this one out for a minute. Let's just say hypothetically, it turns out for 80 years, the government has had an alien spacecraft and an alien, and the Roswell stuff was true. What happens? Number one, all those people who were kind of on the fringes and were a little on the weird side, they're coming out, and suddenly everything they say is validated, everything they say is true. So what does that help us feel? More assured, less assured. Well, panic will kick in. Then we calm
Absolutely.
everybody down. Then we're angry because for that many years the government has covered up something. So now people are super mad. And so what are people going to do? What, overthrow the government? And then install another government? And that government's not going to possibly keep secrets? Do we not think they're state secrets? When I was a kid, little kid, I didn't know there was a such thing as the SR-71 Blackbird. Coolest spy plane of the 70s or 50s or whenever that came out. Then in the 80s, we found out about it, and it was the coolest thing ever. Did it change what we didn't know about? Like, it didn't.
No.
So getting worked up isn't helpful. So now what should we know about? We should know about what you said. God is sovereign. Here's how we're going to walk through these things. We should be okay going, okay, maybe the government. We should be okay knowing that all the actors on the planet are not all going to be of good character, of elder quality, 1 Timothy 3, Titus 1, elder quality man. We don't even have that in most general organizations. Is Apple keeping secrets from you? Sure. Is Google keeping secrets from you? Sure.
For all I know, my postman's keeping secrets from me.
Your letter carrier knows a bunch of stuff about you.
But do we have to know everything? And do I have to get excited about this because someone else or my friend's excited about this? Like, do I have to watch something because my friend's like, oh man, you're not gonna believe this, you have to watch this?
You know how much stuff there is out there to watch? And we're making a video, no one's gonna go, you gotta watch this video. These two guys, they put up a camera. No.
We might be onto something here.
Point being is, I think there's a huge word here that Christians above all should take into consideration, and it's relax. If we're really trusting the Lord, if we're resting in the Lord.
Well, that would be my question.
It's not getting worked up. Resting isn't worked up. Is
your trust in God, or is it in the government? Or, your government leaders?
Okay, so here's this one. I'm going to go back and I'm going to tell my friend, who's probably going to hear this podcast, and I'm just going to say, if the whole church gets over the top worked up about this one, and we have to call some special evening theological discussion about if the government's been lying to us, it's going to be the same thing. Relax, trust the Lord.
I hate always feeling like I have to respond to something, or I have to have an opinion on something, or I have to speak into every issue.
Yep.
Obviously there was that tragic event in Utah, in my community, where Charlie Kirk was shot and killed at a university campus.
Which we talked about it on this podcast because we felt like we had to respond.
Right. Yep. So then Greg Laurie, who's a great pastor out of California, put together a harvest crusade and came to UVU to speak to people. And it felt like all the churches had to get together and be a part of that. We had to get on board with what he was doing. And it felt a lot of pressure as a local pastor there to become a part of what he was doing.
Let's get a little bit raw here, because this podcast is about us having a chat.
Right.
It used to be us having a chat and just recording it with the phone. So it was real natural. Like,
but now look, we have a microphone.
I don't ever go to the coffee shop with all this.
Can you imagine if we did?
I'm not going to do that. Anyway, so he wanted all those local churches to get on board with the things he's doing. And it probably was a great event. I'm not
heard
saying
good things.
It's not. Yeah. But a lot of people get worked up about it. But how many people get worked up to him about we should do this thing that Redeeming Life Church in Bountiful, Utah is doing, and when he go, oh, okay, good idea. Like, there's a sense of excitability that I think is the issue. Let's get people sort of worked up, and then let's do something. As if getting God's people worked up is the way you actually get stuff done. Let's rally against this. Let's boycott against that. Let's get crazy about aliens. Let's be upset about our government. Where in the Bible do you see Christians get worked up and do something?
And I think that's the overarching theme and really issue in our society as a whole is there's all this up and down all over the place. And so you're either really high and excited or really low and depressed. And I feel like there's something to be said for just long obedience in the same direction of just a constant day in and day out preaching the gospel.
What a witness. What a witness. Like, oh, the world is crazy. But these people seem to be prepared. They know where they're going. They know in whom they trust, and they're just stable.
Right.
There's something about that seems to have real value to me. Makes sense.
So as a pastor, would you say that when people come to you and they're really excited about a documentary and like, hey, our whole church needs to watch this documentary, or hey, our whole church has to go to this crusade or whatever, would you argue that, hey, we just need to keep being consistent in what we're doing?
I would say that. But I would also say, hey, we recorded this podcast called Yours, Mine, Ours. This is the thing the whole church needs to be. Watch the podcast. Right. Invite your friends to watch the podcast. If you're going to be the kind of people who want to get worked up about this stuff, knock yourself out. But let's not work the church up unless there's some legitimately serious reason that's necessary. This documentary we just watched, not that necessary.
Now, if somebody's really into that, enjoys that, that's their thing. Do I have to feel guilty because I don't enjoy that or want to see that? I remember when I was in 9th grade, I really enjoyed the movie Black Dog. It's a Patrick Swayze movie. I love it. It's a truck driving movie. Nobody's ever seen it. It's like a B movie.
Don't know what this is.
I made my friend watch it all the time. And he's like, I don't like that movie. I don't want to watch that stuff. I don't care about that stuff.
How many times did you and your friend watch it?
Probably too many. Well, not too many for me, but too many for him.
Which is how many? One time?
No, this is nothing I made him watch over and over. But I feel like as an adult, I always feel this pressure of, well, I have to have an answer for what my friends care about, or I have to have an issue for this issue or that issue. I think sometimes we just don't have time to watch all that kind of stuff.
It goes deep. I was going to say, it goes so much deeper than that. These things come to the surface, and then, Pastor, please answer this for me. And so then we spend a lot of time watching these sorts of things.
Right.
Hey, what do you think about this guy? He preached a 47-minute sermon on this thing. Would you please watch his whole sermon and let me know what you think? And I want to say, okay, I'm happy, but I want to serve you. I want to help. Right. But to what extent? Are you just looking for a quick one-off answer? I got to spend 47 minutes watching a thing you watched.
Right.
Because nobody wants me. If I say, hey, did you watch this take on the debate between these people back in the 1300s with this thing and that thing? And what do you think that impacts the church? They go, I don't have time for that. I'm not saying we don't have time for our people, but I don't think we have time for alien documentary that's $20 on whatever streaming service it was on. Like, I can't do all of that stuff. There's times. I mean, I've had people come and say, okay, I really want to understand. Should I watch The Chosen? Should I not watch The Chosen? I take some time. I look at reviews. I look at an episode or two. I try to figure,
sure,
those are different. This is just a
Well, sometimes you'll have a group of people in your church who are really passionate about something. Like I have some people in my church who are really passionate about a certain topic or a certain doctrine of faith.
Right.
That's not something I have time to really address or get into all the time on a Sunday morning, but that might be something where they do a Bible study in their home and really talk about that.
Are they
and
really
enjoy
passionate about the hypostatic union?
I would hope so.
There was a time, this is funny, there was a time back in history when things like Jesus being human, Jesus being fully God, those were the big debates.
Sure.
Hypostatic union or the Trinity or the working of the Holy Spirit. In our day, I think those things are definitely end times, definitely ecclesiology things, prophecy, how do we do mission, like these things, but you're right. You get super worked up about things. Where would you put this? Where are the demons? Right. Is that what the conversation came to you about?
Well, that was the concern.
Instability in the church,
or
I don't know.
Whatever.
Do you think this is going to cause instability in the church?
I don't think so.
Do you think people? I mean, okay, so we saw that Sean Hannity commented on it, and it's popular right now. Are people going to be talking about this in 6 months?
Probably not.
Are people going to be talking about this in 3 months?
Well, that's the big thing, right? Yeah.
Like, what are we? talking about?
The issues that were huge in 2020 aren't as big right now.
There was reports that this thing is playing off of. I keep pointing back to this screen that's blank. There were reports that this documentary seemed to be playing off of it. Were like, we found some possible alien spacecraft or unidentified craft. That was the end of the story. And I don't think people even got worked up about it.
Right.
Back in, when was that, 2020? There was a lot going on in 2020. Sure. But it was sort of like murder hornets and...
I remember 2014 having some flat earth conversations with my friends.
Those are still happening. Not with me, not with these friends.
I think the key to remember is when things like this come up is to remember to put your trust in God, have your hope in Him, and look at these things. I mean, if it's something that's going to draw you closer to Him, right, and help you to find peace in Him. Otherwise, I feel like it's a distraction or just an attempt to make you afraid and get you scared and worked up.
So what are the words we said? We said relax.
Yeah. Okay,
Christian, relax. And just keep taking the next best, most faithful steps so you can take the long obedience in the same direction. I think that's really the key here.
100%.
Stable, calm. People go, hey, I'd like to hear more about the hope that is in you. Oh, I hope in God, and all this is just nonsense.
Is the way you're spending your time drawing you closer to God, or is it drawing you further away?
There you go.
I want to leave our listeners with this scripture on that note from Psalm 19:1. The heavens declare the glory of God, and the expanse proclaims the work of His hands. Until next time.
Thanks for listening. Find more resources at SaltyBeliever.com.